One name to keep in mind for the Minnesota Vikings as a potential trade would be the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback, Trey Lance. Okay? Now, the Vikings missed what would have been the perfect move earlier this year when they didn't spend the fourth rounder the Cowboys used to get Trey Lance. We could have done it. Okay? It's just that simple. But sitting in regret isn't useful. Making the move now will cost slightly more, but could matter more as well. Imagine we trade for Trey Lance. He becomes a guy in Minnesota, leads us to a pretty decent playoff run. I'm not going to say Super Bowl because I don't think that's in the realm of possibility. It could be. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. But he could end up becoming a guy coming back home to Minnesota and balling out in front of his fans or his friends and his family and stuff like that. That'd be great. Now, Lance is an enigma multiple NFL teams have tried to figure out. The 49ers drafted him number 3 overall because they saw his talent, but it never materialized into success in San Francisco. And after an injury, he was beaten out by Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold on the depth chart. So the Cowboys took the chance on him because of the potential, but he's served only as the team's emergency quarterback, not yet elevating into a backup role behind Dak Prescott. So he's basically just there sitting around doing nothing. So it would be the perfect option for the Minnesota Vikings. We talked about it earlier this year. Trade for Trey Lance. Trade for Trey Lance. Let's go get him. People are like, you want this bum? No, he's not a bum. Okay, maybe he just didn't have a good outing in San Francisco. There's been times in the NFL where we've seen quarterbacks get drafted, can't play, they move teams. We see it in every single sports league. It's just, it depends on the situation, it depends on the system, it depends on the play caller, the coach. There's a lot of things that being a good quarterback depends on. Okay, and now Trey Lance didn't have success in San Francisco, but I think that's because we got to see Brock Purdy go on an absolute tear, so Trey Lance really didn't get any opportunity, and when he did, he got hurt. So maybe there's that, that factor of being scared that Trey Lance could get hurt. But I think the Minnesota Vikings should go out, trade for Trey Lance, and let's see what happens. Because if he becomes a dude, wins some ball games for us, takes us to the playoffs, there's no need for us to draft a quarterback. We can just live in the Trey Lance experience here in Minnesota for the next at least year. But I think that's the kickers. You're going to have to sign him to a contract extension. And how big is that going to be, being that he was a number 3 overall pick? Not 100% sure, but Trey Lance makes the most sense for the Minnesota Vikings to go out and sign. I don't know about you guys. You guys can let me know in the comment section what you would think about trading for Trey Lance. I don't think we'd have to give much. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys traded a 4th rounder to get him. That means they're probably going to want that 4th rounder replaced to pull him away from Dallas. And I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, shout out Grid, Lions Syndicate host. He seen a tweet that basically Daniel Jeremiah laid out what the Cowboys would want in return for Trey Lance. And it was either a 3rd or a 4th round pick. Now, I'm not sure we'd give a 3rd round pick for Trey Lance, even though we don't have any leverage. There's no leverage for the Minnesota Vikings on this. If we want a guy, we're going to have to go get one. So the Dallas Cowboys in that situation have all the leverage. You want Trey Lance? Okay, give us a 3rd round pick. If not, kick rocks is basically how it could go down. So I'd be okay with giving a 4th rounder for Trey Lance. I mean, you guys can let me know in the comment section again what you would think, but the Minnesota Vikings need to trade for Trey Lance.